Good afternoon, everybody. Here we are live. Um, how's it going? It's nice to be seen. Comic Crack here. It's Saturday afternoon. I've got a little bit of time, so I wanted to just do a little talk about some pickups that I had recently and where my reading is going. And I realized I didn't bring some stuff from upstairs downstairs, but that's okay. I think the first thing just to kind of touch on as I'm trying to open up the channel and get into the chat here. Um, I It was my birthday a little while ago, 420, and one of the things that I was fortunate receive, which was very kind, even though I don't particularly enjoy supporting Amazon. Um, these days, I got an Amazon gift card, and I was able to grab myself some of the the Thorgal volumes that Cinebook had released. I got them from, I think it was 3 different sellers, and I think it ended up costing me about $5 shipping, because part of the order came with free shipping. The one bonus of dealing with a place like Amazon, uh, if you make enough orders, you can. Spiro, how the heck are you? You're just gonna go make a coffee. Awesome. I'm gonna try to pop out this chat here while I'm chatting. Try to do 2 things at once, which will be very successful, I'm sure. Close that. Sorry, everybody. YouTube just really has changed stuff, and that's ultimately it's fine, but it does make things a little more difficult. So anyway, scored myself the next 4 volumes of Thorgal. 3 of them have shown up. So I had already, I think, was it 4 and 5 or 5 and 6? Look at that. I had 4 and 5. So I ordered 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I'm just waiting for issue 7 to show up. So issue 6, as soon as it came in the mail that night, I sat and read it. And again, like I spoke about before when I talked about that series, I'm loving it. I think it's a really fantastic read just because it has a nice blend of the fantasy and kind of sci-fi and sort of realistic mixed in, more dramatic mixed in. Really, really highly recommended. Adam, Dr. Monkeybot, was kind enough to suggest to me. Now I'm going to blank on the name. What the heck was it called? Adam, I know you're not here. Adam, help. Um, uh, like just an online service where you can get all these back issues. And actually, one of the bonuses of it is that they ship worldwide for free. I was looking at their prices, and they're pretty decent. And it's called bookdepository.com. So they have pretty much the whole run of the series. So did Amazon. I've seen some stuff on eBay as well for fairly cheap. The bonus with Book Depository is that it's free. So you're paying a little less than cover price from what I was digging into. What I didn't realize was, I'm not sure what issue 7 is. Issue 4, 5, and 6 so far that I've had in my possession. And I believe the first 3, they were double issues. So you had 2 stories in one. 8 and 9 that I received in the mail the other day, they're only single issue, which is slightly disappointing. I like the double issue format. I get a bigger chunk of story in one book. But whatever. Like I said, I'm enjoying it enough that I'm okay with that kind of stuff. I'll probably end up doing another video once I've caught up reading all of them. That'll probably be a separate video. And one of the things I managed to find today, actually, while I was out, I had a meeting at my office today. And then I stopped in to see our friend Garrett, actually, and we were talking about you, Spiro, because he was mentioning that he saw that you were back online doing some videos. And we both agreed that it's great to see you back in front of the camera and nice to kind of hear from you. I found another Cine book in his sale bin, and this is Clifton, My Dear Wilkinson. Again, another one that I'm not familiar with. Looks like it's maybe a little more kind of on the comedic vein. I do still like the artwork. And again, it was cheap enough because he does have a sale going on these. older graphic novels that he's trying to move out of the shop. So it was the right price for me to give it a shot. So I'm really looking forward to reading that. Space, need some space here. How about right there? Paulo Costa, how are you? Nice to see you. Thanks for joining. So that aside, it's been a bit of a week with finding some kind of really interesting deals. One of the things that I'm finding I'm enjoying a bit, which I don't have much experience with manga. I have read some, like the Berserk and the Junji Ito, Bambi's Pink Gun, Black and White, that sort of thing. I do have some experience with it, but not a ton. And one of the things, as I'm diving into Eclipse Comics these days, Eclipse was one of the first companies, along with Viz, to kind of introduce manga to a North American audience. Again, I don't want to get into a conversation of who was first. Everybody claims they were first. Let's just say they were one of the first. And from what I understand, Mai the Psychic Girl was one of those early early kind of books to introduce. Dinner in 5 minutes. Totally understood. Appreciate you came in to say hello. Um, so this paired with the Cartoonist Kayfabe channel. They're talking about Akira and they're revisiting a lot of his work. Watching this Man Ben documentary when I can find an English subtitled one online and when I have a minute has really piqued my interest. So I've been finding a lot of the Eclipse lately. There's a lot of Eclipse titles, specifically manga, that I've seen over the years, but I've never really picked up because it wasn't an area that I was really that interested in. But seeing as my goal this year is to get as much Eclipse comic stuff as possible, I've started picking them up when I find them. I found a few today for 50 cents a piece. So my number 8, my number 3, Area 88, number 17, and then Area 88, number 12. And I've one that I'm starting to read right now. I'm probably going to pronounce it wrong. Kamui, Kamui. Not exactly sure. Another hit. The story, I just really got into it immediately. I'm only a few issues in. I think I only so far have about the first 5 or 6 issues in total. It's not one that I've really chased down yet. I know where in town I can get a bunch more, so I'm not super worried about it. But I just wanted to try out a first few issues to see if I liked it. And it really worked for me right away. So maybe I was planning to do the next Eclipse video was going to be on Liberty Project and some of their superhero titles. But I have a feeling if I can grab some more of these manga, the next Eclipse video will be kind of looking a little closer at some of those titles and maybe talking a little bit about how Eclipse paired up with Viz to kind of introduce these books to North American audiences. Couple of more things that I managed to grab today, again from 50-cent bins. And I some of these books I would only grab in 50-cent bins. The Adolescent Radioactive Black Belt Hamsters. A few of those. So there was a few of these series. I think I have book 1 already of this. So there's book 3. And then one of the characters in this was Clint. So Clint had a couple of single, like Clint one-shots. This is Clint the Hamster Triumphant from Eclipse with a really great cover there. And then another, this is book 2 of Hamster Triumphant. Really, really great cover there. And then I saw this. I have another Nat Rat. So this is Nat Rat, The Dark Nat Returns. There you go. And then while when I went to meet up with Garrett, he had some magazines for me. While I was there, I had a look through their bins, and I found the first 6 issues of the Epic Comics, Mobius's Airtight Garage, the Elsewhere prints. I believe I had this single issue before. I'm not sure if I I think it kind of went away at some point, so I bought it again just in case I don't have it anymore. There's issue 2. The thing with this series is story by Mobius, script by RJM Lofficier, art by Eric Shanower, colors Florence Libertree, and my glasses are not close, so I hope I haven't butchered that too much. That said, the style is very much in line with Mobius, so I think this, from what I understand about this series, it kind of picks up from where Mobius had left off. I don't know how much he had to do with this series. Still looks great, and it's still really nice to have. I wasn't talking to you, Siri. Go back to sleep. And from what I saw in one of the other ones, let's see if it happens in this one too. Yeah, it looks like there's some backups here. Get to the page. Tale of the Curse of Alzioth. And then in a couple of the issues, there were some sketches. There were some Mobius sketches. In this particular one, it looks like there's a short story. Yeah, here we go. As well. So that's a nice bonus to find these. And these were cheap. Number 4. Number 5. And number 6. So meeting up with Garrett today, I guess recently, as we all know about our friend Garrett, Comic Guy Rules, to those of you who remember his YouTube channel, he hasn't been doing much lately. Recently, he's a big horror magazine fan, and his horror magazine collection is extraordinary. From seeing him at small conventions around town and running into him from time to time, seeing kind of the things that he's picking up, some amazing stuff this guy gets. So he got a deal on a stack of Eerie Publications horror magazines, and there was 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 7 of them that he already had. So we got in touch with me. We met up. Yeah, for sure. I'll say, excuse me, sorry. I'll absolutely do that, Spiro, next time I see him. So he was kind enough to get in touch with me and tell me that, hey, I've got these doubles. If you're interested, I can drop them off at the comic shop by your office. My meeting was over in time, so I figured I'd just go down and run into him. I won't spend too much time. I haven't really had a good look through these yet, but there's Tales of Voodoo. And I mean, as you know, one of the greatest things about these Eerie Publications magazines are these unbelievable covers, just ridiculous looking, and then a bunch of black and white reprints inside. And I believe it's all public domain type of stuff. And a lot of times I posted on Twitter not too long ago 2 different issues, I think maybe 3 or 4 years apart, 2 different titles from Eerie Publications, and they both had the exact same story in it. So that's kind of what they were doing. They were just repackaging these stories over and over again with a different title, and these amazing painted covers. Terror Tales. Just amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. And then finally, Terror Tales. So thanks very much, Garrett, if you are watching this in the future. I do appreciate it. It's nice to put a little bit more of a dent in my Eerie Publications. And that said, I managed to find a few more recently as well, just by coincidence. Terrors of Dracula. This is the one, Head Full of Snakes. So there's Head Full of Snakes in Terrors of Dracula, and then we'll see what appears later on here. Another Terror Tales. Yeah, exactly. Eerie Publications Live. It's true. And an amazing cover here. Terror Tales with the flesh ripping off the arms that are choking the guy. Really just mind-blowing covers. Really, really incredible covers. And then Weird with some sort of space vampire. It was an Italian movie, Space Vampires, I believe. And then finally, Weird again, another Weird. And I'm pretty sure I've got another Eerie Pubs that has the same cover. It's not part of Weird. I don't remember what the overall title was, but I know that I've seen this cover before, and I'm pretty sure it's in one of my magazine boxes. So put a real nice dent into the Eerie Publication stuff, which I'm absolutely thrilled that I got. And then finally, I am. It's funny that you're here, Spiro, because just talking about, I was watching your video this morning and talking about kind of tapping out from social media. For the most part, I'm on the same boat. I agreed with everything that you were saying in there. I, however, am still attached to Twitter. I was away from Facebook for a number of years and deleted my account and all sorts of stuff. I am back on Facebook now, but all I do is I'm there for the comics groups. I was selling comics on Facebook, trying to, anyways, attempting to. Not much success doing it there, but also kind of buying stuff because there's a couple of Comic Auctions Canada type of sites or groups rather. That's where those magazines came from. The last stack that I just showed you there. And part of it is dealing with marketplace on there. I've had some success selling stuff on the marketplace locally. Um, because there's no longer what was it, Craigslist, Kijiji. It's difficult selling stuff on Kijiji, so I try on there. I'm not trying to make excuses for my appearance there. It's just this is what I try to use it for. I do try to really focus my use of these social media platforms and really limit my use. I do find I have a hard time staying away from Twitter. It is nice to kind of check in, and you really do get in that mindset of just checking in. But out of all of them, YouTube, I think, is my favorite. And I think you touched on it too in your video. The fact that we can do stuff like this, for example, I can do a video. You guys can chat with me live in the room. You can talk to each other. I really like it. There's more of a sense of kind of hanging out. And especially after all these years of being on YouTube, you do end up kind of building your own little community of people who are somewhat like-minded. Obviously, everybody's an individual, but you do kind of find your little niche, and it really does feel like a bit of a hangout, even though we're on opposite sides of the planet. I'm more of in the bald spot of the planet, and Spiro, I think you're just you're the bum hole, I think is what you've said in the past. So it's nice to have that part of a community, because everything else that comes along with social media, I don't have the patience for, the interest in. And over the time, especially if you really take the time to curate your accounts like I've done with mine, um, I don't have very many negative experiences on Twitter, to be totally blunt, because I've blocked a lot of people. I've unfriended a lot of people, and if there's certain conversations that happen, I'm getting really good at just letting them go and not even worrying about it, you know. But yes, it does take a bit of commitment, and I think what you said in your comment is there's better games of whack-a-mole out there to play than that one, which I don't disagree with either. So anyway, using the Facebook as I do, I have found quite a few deals on there within the marketplace. And again, because we don't have as many of these other forums that people are selling on, it seems like a lot of people are selling stuff on Facebook. So I stumbled on a woman selling a bunch of TinTin magazines. So along with like Spiro, um, there was some Belgian comics kind of anthology magazines, TinTin appearing in it, but also other series. I believe stuff like I was talking about earlier, Thorgal, and a bunch of other kind of strips. A lot of them that I just don't know appeared in these magazines. So with the publication Spiro, it was Belgian. It went all over the world. I think there was even a line that was released here in Canada. I do know that some of them, like this first one I'm looking at, they do have a Canadian price tag on it. So it seems like I have a mix of a few different volumes of Spiro, of TinTin rather. So she was selling them. I noticed that she had a few auctions, or not a few auctions, but a few listings in the marketplace. You're ready to do a fire sale and get rid of everything, and I'm not kidding. Holy smokes, Dr. Von Schilla, that's That makes me nervous. The I noticed that she had a couple of listings up on the marketplace, and she had them listed for about $5 an issue. So I got in touch with her to ask how many she had, what kind of size were they? Are these magazine size stuff, or hey, Volsticks, how are you? Are they magazine size? Are they comic size? Kind of after communicating with her for a while, I just made her a deal for all of them, and I got these for about $2.50 a piece. Um, and I absolutely love them. They're in a variety of conditions. I won't go through the entire stack. Well, maybe I will see how it goes. But I am. Yes, I'm trying. I tried out the Ames guide a few times actually, and been practicing my lettering. Not as much as I would like to. I haven't had a ton of time this week. I'll talk about that at the end actually, because that links me to something else. Um, but yeah, no, I definitely want to see more videos from you, and I would love to see some. I think you were talking about, doing this style of stuff of kind of reviewing and talking about some books. I'd love to hear your thoughts on some of the stuff that you're reading, because I think we may be in line. And I know that sometimes you've dropped some names on Twitter that I have no idea who they are, so I'm always curious to hear about new comics out there. So up here you can see, I believe there's a Canada price. Yeah, right there, Canada 25 cents. Um, None of these are in English, but I'm okay with that because for me, the ability to flip through these magazines and see some of this art is what draws me to this stuff. For a long time, I've been saying that I need more European comics in my life, and this really just gives me a chance to experience some of the art anyway, and then start digging into. I'm sure that a lot of these, if they were popular enough, got translated into English by one of the number of companies that were doing that sort of thing. So I'm really looking forward to spending a couple of hours, possibly tonight after everybody's gone to bed, flipping through these and making some notes and doing some digging online to see what's out there in translated form that I can dive into a little more. Um, it's amazing. Wherever she got these from, they took pretty good care of them. They're a little bit taller than a magazine. Let's see. So there's a magazine bag, and you can see they're just a little bit taller. They're about the same width as just a regular magazine. So just to give you a little bit of perspective. Um, so there was a couple of doubles, but they're from different volumes. And when I was flipping through them side to side, there's a couple of differences with the story in them as well too. Some of the same stories, and then some things that are different. This one has a few more articles, for example, than that first one does, that had the same cover. Mass Panther, Rasa, Mighty Lovin', holy smokes, everybody's in the room. Awesome. Um, Yeah, I'm making notes. Usually good at talking about stuff off the top of my head. I get all nervous and my brain switches off when I try to. Yeah, I hear you. It took a little while to get used to this format. I remember there was a time where I was really impressed watching the comic book roundtable, especially when Travis was taking it over. He was really, that was one of the things that impressed me the most. Having these conversations, still checking in with the chat, and it was an impressive thing. It does take some time. I would say just go for it. Start with edited videos and then go from there. I prefer this now just because editing takes a lot of time and it's a bit of a pain in the ass, to be honest. And honestly, this is what I really like about it. Making videos and reading the comments, that sort of thing, is what I enjoy about it. And this interaction is the best thing for me. Mighty Loving 79, what do you think of Not a Very Good Gallery by Nicholas Sequeira? I'm afraid I don't know that one. Rasa, hey, how are you? Mass Panther, hello. And then Volstick's been buying a lot of nice original French editions of David B. and Jacques Tardy albums. That's awesome. I've got a couple of Tardy hardcovers. Um, Yeah, Mass Panther, holy cow, I'm getting flashbacks. Yeah, you're right back into it, Spiro. It's been a while, it feels like. Uh, and then the other issue that was a double with a pretty great cover. And then side by side with the other volume or wherever this one was released. I think it was Paulo Costa that sent me a link on Twitter as well that breaks down each of the volumes. I just haven't sat with it and really gone through there to see exactly which volumes of the series I have. But there's another look at the inside of those too. So really, really exciting stack of books, and for a really, really good price, a price I was happy with for sure. You can't go wrong with $2.50 an issue, especially when I don't have any previous experience with them. So, and the other thing that I find interesting about this stuff is the mix of what looks like pretty dramatic stories with stuff that's a lot more comedic. So they're definitely trying to hit all sorts of age groups. And then even on the back cover here too. Just show you a few more covers here. Oh, and I'll show you this one first, actually. One of the ones she had in the stack was this kind of really huge volume with a whole bunch of, looks like it's kind of, let me find the page break here. Basically, a few issues in here. It looks like probably about 6 issues kind of glued together in a volume, in one single volume. But this is fantastic too, and again in really, really nice shape. Show you a couple pages in here. Just that European style is really, it's just it's really resonating with me these days. The European style, and then again the manga is really resonating. Let's see. Fine talking with others in Hangouts, etc., but by myself, I need a crutch to begin with. Got a lot of info, thoughts about the Brinkman stuff that needs ordering. Yeah, I would love to see a Matt Brinkman video by you for sure. Nicholas Sequeira has made a 42-page parody of Night Gallery. Haven't seen it. I haven't. And then just the final thought, the Brinkman stuff, impact of Fort Thunder, High Water books, etc. Absolutely. My comics collection has fallen by the wayside for the last couple of years, but Mr. Crack always piques my interest in unusual goodies. Well, I'm glad. That is what I'm here for. I'm here to tingle your taste buds for some comic goodness, because I find I've got a bit of a renewed excitement about it. And I think, honestly, as I've spoken about before, over these last few years, getting away from keeping up with the weekly comics, and really digging into back issues. I mean, I'm surrounded by boxes of back issues, and the stuff that I want to read is just grows and grows as I find more cheap comics out there. And honestly, this year, really focusing on Eclipse. When I go out there, I'm just looking for that little Eclipse logo, and it's amazing to me how much they did produce during their short time. Well, not a short time, actually, quite a long time. But it's really nice to dig into that stuff again. And then things like Cartoonist Kayfabe and Man Ben, they really help get those juices flowing even more. Also, how Fort Thunder, Brinkman, Chippendale influenced Kramer's Ergot and the art comics movement. Yeah, little to no narrative. You know the type. Absolutely do. Chippendale has some amazing stuff. Were you a fan of Lightning Bolt, his band? I still have a live DVD of them, and they were an incredible sight to see. I never saw them live, unfortunately, but I subbed. Excellent. That's great. Current news. Welcome. Truck. Holy smokes. Subbed. You guys are the best. Thanks very much. I appreciate it. So yeah, here's pretty much the rest of the stack. I'll just kind of flip through the covers and go from there. But on the Ames guide, Volstics, it's been really great to play around with that and just kind of get back into my lettering. One of the things that's happening with watching all these videos and kind of, I've always wanted to look into doing some binding for some of the mini series that I have. Yeah, Quarter Maltese, absolutely. I've always wanted to get some of my mini series bound. I know guys that have done it throughout the years. And then of course the cartoonist kayfabe there, Jim Rugg, has a video where he talks about binding stuff himself. And it's actually a really simple process, a lot simpler, like hand sewn binding, a lot simpler than I thought it was going to be. So for the last few days, I've been watching a bunch of videos on how to do it, and I have some ideas of things that I want to collect. I was thinking of doing, well, I've got a whole bunch of Exclaim newspaper. It was a free newspaper here in Canada. I'm not sure if it was North America. I don't think so. But in that newspaper, it was based on like music mostly, but there was movies. And early days, it had comics, like reviews of indie comics and that sort of thing, and graphic novels. This looks like 13. Um, and Mark Bell had a strip in there for quite a few years, and I've got kind of magazines. I think my earliest one was 1998 or 1999, and I collected it for a few years. So just the other day, I scanned all of the Mark Bell stuff that I had, which turned out to be, I don't know, approximately 30 something strips. So that was one of the things I was thinking of doing, and I think it would be nice to format that as sort of like a little golden book. If you're familiar, if anybody has kids or read them when you were a kid, collect that Mark Bell stuff in a little golden book kind of format. There's a pretty great cover right there. But just watching all of these videos on hand sewn binding and how to do it. So I went to the Value Village and I found some kids books, oversized kids books for about $1 a piece. Because one thing that Jim had suggested, the book binding cardboard is pretty pricey, so he was going to used bookstores to buy used books and just basically cannibalize them for use, for his own use. So I'm going to do the same thing and figure out how to do that. I'm just deciding which series I want to do. One of the ones that he did for himself was Slash Maraud, which I do love. I love that miniseries, so that might be a nice one. Here's an anniversary issue. Look at those insides there. Wow, Ray 25. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Just so much work that I just don't know the first thing about. Really, really exciting. Like I said, a hell of a score this run. And then finally, the final issue that I have, another wraparound cover here. We'll open that sucker up. A small history of cinema. Yeah, Booth #1 by Mark Bell from Iconographics. Yes, I have that bookmarked. They have it. I've got a running cart and wish list on mycomicshop.com, and they have a couple of issues of that in there, so that's on my wish list. I'm just waiting to make some more sales on Discogs before I pull the trigger on that. Oh, look at this. Beautiful. Beautiful. These are definitely later ones. I don't know why I'm so stubborn with not just always having my glasses with me. Um, yeah, I don't see a year in this one here. But anyway, a beautiful score. Yeah, no year that I can find anyway. A beautiful score of magazines. I'm really thrilled. You never know what's going to pop up in town, I guess, which is also the beauty of the Facebook marketplace. You never know what people have that they want to get rid of. So, okay. So that was pretty much all that I had to say. Um, sorry, I'm missing something. You're asking me about doing a review of Nicholas Sequeira. Yeah, I mean, if I run across it and I'll check it out if I have the time to. I'm kind of in a zone here with other stuff, but absolutely, I'll check it out. Thanks very much for tuning in, everybody. Yes, Paulo, still on. Just wrapping up, though. Just finished showing the TinTin magazines. If you want to watch it later, you can just see the covers. Um, and I was just saying that it's just a whole world of stuff that I don't know much about. So I'm excited to get back into it. If I ever run across any pilotes, I'll buy it. Yeah, absolutely. I will definitely be keeping my eyes open for that stuff. I've never seen any of this kind of thing show up here in town. So I don't know what is happening. One of the dealers at Mulvey Flea Market, he recently got in boxes of all sorts of comics from around the world. Everything from like comics from the Philippines, Japanese stuff, Spanish stuff, stuff from Mexico, French, all sorts of things, which I'm really looking forward to. Hopefully getting my hands on some of them. He had a bunch of Diabolique stuff, and I kind of bookmarked those for him. I sent him an email as well and said, hey, when you get a chance to price that stuff, I would love that stack of Diabolique stuff, or Diabolic, or Diabolique, I believe is how you pronounce it. But I would love that, and then some of the little pocket digest horror stuff, the Spanish horror stuff. Incredible. So I don't know what's happened in town. Some collection must have been unearthed, and a variety of people have got their hands on some things, is what my guess is, because it seems too much of a coincidence that all this stuff pops up at once. I've got some reprints in English of the Diabolique stuff, but I would love to have the originals. I would love to have some of the originals. Have you ever seen the movie that they did about it? Can't believe I'm blanking on his name right now. Anyway, well worth checking out. Uh, Colorful, fantastic music. Morricone does the music for it, and I'm just blanking on the director's name. I'm going to kick myself afterwards. But anyway, it's well worth checking out as well. So with that, thanks very much for tuning in, everybody. I appreciate all the new people that are tuning in and subbed up. We'll talk to you real soon. Thanks.